What is going on, you guys? Today I have another super quick episode for you. So we're going to be reviewing a channel called It's Me, and the episode title is Cost of Living in the Philippines After 10 Months of Living Here. Let's get into it.
What?
The lizard poop.
The lizard pooped on you?
Oh, God. I thought it's your water, but
It's a Philippines gecko. He's lived here longer than us.
yeah.
Okay. Hey everyone, it's me again. If you're new to the channel, my name is Corey. My wife's name is Raquel. She is a little camera shy, just to give you a heads up now. Some people have said she should talk more, and I'm like, yeah, I try when she can stop giggling. So we do a lot of retakes and a lot of bloopers, which I could make a whole video on. So we are going to talk about a foreigner's monthly cost living in the Philippines. And when I say that, for those of you that don't know us, we've been married for quite some time. I met her in the Philippines. She lived with me in Chicago in the US for about 2 years, a little bit less. We had a 5-year plan to move over to the Philippines, and we prepared, we planned, and we built a house over here, and we've been here now for 10 months. So,
Okay, so let's get this part out of the way, right? So they met in the Philippines, and she stayed with him a little bit. It sounded like in New York, or in the US at least, right? And they had a plan to come back to the Philippines, and they built their house, which I believe that must be what they're staying in now. So, one thing I want to get out of the way too, because he might talk about it at some point during this, but like a lot of people, when they provide, like, let's say, like a negative view on the argument for, like, oh, like, you don't want to date a foreign girl, she's just gonna want you for your green card, right? A lot of times I've seen foreigners dating a girl. The foreigner has no intention of bringing the girl back home to the US, right? Like, the girl doesn't want to go to the US and the guy doesn't want to go back, so they end up starting a beautiful life together, or even like a family in that country, whether it was like Latin America, Eastern Europe, Southeast Asia, wherever they go, right? So I think that's important to note, because a lot of people have, like, they jump to like sort of like a negative conclusion about it before actually considering, like, you might just meet a really cool girl and she probably loves it where she lives, her family's there already, she probably doesn't want to leave, and there's probably a reason that you left the US, right? So I just think it's a kind of an interesting point to bring up.
I think we have a pretty good average because your bills fluctuate, and I didn't want to give you guys a cost of living after 30, 60, or 90 days, because that's going to give you horrible information. You need more data to put together than that. Okay, so that being said, I just want to say that I've watched every YouTube video on foreigners' cost of living over here, and they fluctuate quite a bit. So feel free to comment saying you spend less on something or that you spend more on something, because I'm not going to disagree with anyone. It's just you have to factor in 3 things when you're moving to another country, or anywhere for that matter. And first thing is going to be location. We all know that. No one's going to argue that. Second thing is going to be your lifestyle. It's going to make a huge impact on how much you're spending. And then third thing is how much planning you put into it. And I don't ever see YouTubers talk about that for some reason, but when you plan and you build things and you prepare in advance, you're able to keep your cost down much lower, as an example. All right, so like I said, this is going to factor in.
No, I love that, right? Because, I mean, you're going to have people who want to live in the city of the Philippines. You're going to have people who want to check out and try to live like more like the countryside, or in a province, or somewhere like away from the city. Whether you do the gym at home, you have a membership, whether you eat out all the time, or you cook, right? Or whether your girlfriend helps you kind of budget things. There's all different levels to it, right? So it's good that he's mentioning that.
3 different things that will make a big impact on what someone is spending. So that being said, I'm going to go over the average cost, and I've gathered that together from every YouTube video on people living in the Philippines. I've put them all into different spreadsheets. I have pie charts and graph charts looking at it, so I can see the averages, the highs, and the lows, and compare it to what we're spending. So we'll keep that part brief, because that's not what we're spending, so I don't necessarily really care. All right, so
First one is the housing.
Is the housing. So that is averaging for foreigners in between 300 and 800. And I know someone's going to jump in and say they spend 100. You can't. We know people that spend $20, and they have a bed, and they have a shared CR with other people. So you can do it for much less than that, but most foreigners are going to say they want to be in the $300 to $800 range. I definitely know people that are in the 1,000 to 1,500 range if they're in IT Park or Makati, and they have a nice condo with a pool and things like that. So that's the average for that. The average electric cost for foreigners is in between $100 and $200. Now, again, I know people that are spending.
And by the way, like what he's saying there, that's a good point. That's what I've heard too. Like basically, like 300 to 800 would be like a decent place, like a decent maybe apartment or condo. You know, it might have some or maybe the amenities you're looking for, like a gym inside or like a pool, like those sorts of things. Some of them have like crazy stuff like game rooms and like saunas, other things, right? It all depends. And of course, like it all depends on like, are you in like the most popular part of one of the big cities or maybe a little bit farther out. But it seems like 300 to 800 is pretty standard. And those other ones seem like outliers, like guys who are just like more open to throwing a bit more money at it.
50 or 60 a month. I also know people that are spending $300 to $350 a month. So it varies a lot based upon how big your house is and how much you prepared in advance. Internet, that's averaging $40.
44. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's averaging. That's a gecko. Okay, it's averaging $40. I know people that spend $10 or $20, but you could obviously spend more than that, for example.
Telephone?
The average I'm noticing is around $15. Definitely plenty of people online that said they spend in between 8 and 12. Some people will spend 40 or 50 because they're on it all the time or they're texting or using the internet on it.
Yeah, we use the no expiry. So it's by gig, so it depends how.
With our load, yeah.
Yeah.
And we're rarely using our internet when we leave.
Yeah, we only use that when we leave. So it's been, I don't know, 2 months now, and then I still have gig in my data. So
yeah, it's been months since we've loaded our phones, and we put $8 on each.
yeah.
So
food, home, like food.
Food/home. So she actually read it correctly, but anyways, food, home. We're talking about your general grocery bill. The average foreigner is spending in between $200 and $400 a month. Plenty of guys said that, or the average is, or can be, I should say, in the $80 range, and plenty of people for larger households where they're buying everything at a chain grocery store and they have kids, they're spending $500 to $600 a month.
Yeah,
So,
it depends. Me, I only eat one slice, food and rice, of course. I'm okay with that. But him, he wants more meat, of course.
I have 2 breakfasts, for
Rice.
example, and she'll have 1 egg and a small piece of rice, or 1 toast and an egg. So
Coffee.
food costs can vary a lot, and I think we all know that. So next
Can
one,
see with Filipino very small.
yeah, like
Okay.
a half a person or a third.
That's why you can save. Okay, we'll go to food dash out. Food.
Food dash out. Okay.
What's that? You dash.
No, you're right. It is food dash out because I'm referring to takeout food
Oh,
and
takeout.
eating out at restaurants.
Okay.
Those numbers are averaging around $400 a month, but that is a huge variation. And when I say that, I have a friend who doesn't spend $20 a month because he never goes out to restaurants. I know other people that spend $600, $700, $800 a month because they eat out at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they live in the city. So that's going to vary a lot, but 400 is the average for what foreigners are spending.
Yeah, you eat a lot, so.
You want to add a dash to everything or no?
No, there's more. Transportation. So, car, gas, yeah.
Yeah, tricycle. So transportation, again, it's going to vary all over. $40 to $70 is the average range. Again, that's put together through all the YouTube videos and all the forums and all the people I've talked to, is $40 to $70. Now, I've talked to people that spend $0 or people that spend $10 because they walk or they take a tricycle once a week.
Going
And
to church.
what's that?
Going to church.
Right. I mean, a lot of local Filipinos will get a tricycle once a week because they're just going to church and they walk everywhere else. I know foreigners over here that spend $500, $600, $700 a month on transportation because they have a car payment, which I'm not going to get into whether I agree with that or not, but either way, that's going to make a huge difference in what it costs you to live over here.
Oh, like, it depends when.
I mean, realistically, yeah. I mean, that's a good point to bring up. Like, it depends on your preference there. Like me personally, like I love living closer to somewhere that's like next to a grocery store, next to a gym, next to food, right? So like I don't ever have to take like a bike or a car or in Philippines, I don't know if it's the same as Thailand, but they use like Grab, InDrive or Bolt, as like it's like the Uber app over there. Like rarely do I use those because I try to live in like city centers or centers close enough, where everything's accessible. So again, right, like that would depend on how far out you are, how much you want to go out, different factors.
To Megete, it's not wise to get a car because it's always traffic, and it's rather take a tricycle than wait for traffic and hard to park.
Yeah, it surprises me that foreigners buy a car living in the city. I wouldn't want to deal with the parking and the accidents with the car. When we go to the city, we park it at a hotel and we don't touch it for days because we'll take a tricycle or we'll walk
it's always
everywhere.
traffic, and it's so hard to find a parking lot. It's very small, unlike US, very wide, so you have nothing to worry about parking, and your car is safe too.
Yeah, but again, I mean, the average is 40 to 70. Some people spend $500, $600, $700. I wouldn't do that myself, but anyways, next one.
Entertainment.
Entertainment. You said that pretty good. I was expecting.
Entertainment.
Yes. Okay. People are averaging $50 to $100. I think that's a little tricky to average because a lot of people are factoring that in with going out to dinner and things like that, because for entertainment, we're not spending much, but I mean, if we lived in the city, I guess it could be higher.
Water.
Yeah, the average is $7 to $12. A lot of people are paying $0 because they have a well. Visa. I was surprised, but
I know this will vary, but like, I'm from the States. I know a lot of people are from like Western countries that are watching a video like this, right? So like, $7, like some places you can kind of like, it's just like the rent and the electricity and the water is like included, right? So it's not really like a varying water bill, but they're still kind of charging you for it. But $7 or nothing if you have a well is insane. Especially as a U.S. person hearing that, it's like it perks your ears up a little bit. Like, okay.
It varied all over the board depending on the type of visa people had, but people were saying, and the average was coming out in between $10 and $20 a month. I think 20 is very high in my opinion, but some people were spending that and they were getting a visa every month. I mean, every 30 days, and they leave and they come back and things like that.
And meds, dental and insurance.
Yeah, abbreviations, but meds, dental, and insurance, the average for that is about $50. Now, a lot of people are going to be spending $0 because they're not dealing with any of that. So that's what I'm seeing for an average. And then we have miscellaneous. Okay, miscellaneous, everyone is budgeting and averaging about $250, which is going to be all kinds of random one-off items, whether it's a present or a gift, or you need to buy something for yourself, or a phone charger, whatever. I think you guys know what I mean. Okay, just to give you guys the average, again, bear with me here, the average foreigner is spending in between $1,200 and $1,800. Now, again, that's just an average from the majority of the people. There's YouTube channels out there and people living off of $500. Now, everyone jumps in and argues with them saying that's impossible. I mean, every Filipino here does it, so it's definitely possible. But most foreigners wouldn't be comfortable like that. I do know one guy in particular, you'll remember him, he's spending $380 a month. Now, the guy we know from the car wash.
Oh, the Megete?
Yeah. He spends $380 a month, and that's it. So he pays the rent, and he pays for the food and his phone, and he has a girlfriend, she works, and she's taking care of the other bills, and they're happy and content. Do I think he would be happier if he had a lot more money? I'm sure that he would, because he obviously can't travel or afford to go get coffee with $380 a month, but he's surviving off of it. I'm not saying he's comfortable, but he is surviving off of that. And there's a lot of guys that are saying that they need in between $2,000 and $2,500, and people in the $2,500 to $3,000 range saying that that's what they need to be comfortable. But again, that's going to come down to your location, your lifestyle, and how much you planned in advance. If we lived in IT Park, we could spend $3,000 a month. That's not what would make us happy. We wouldn't want to live there, but you can spend $3,000 a month living there, and you can also survive. I'm not saying you're comfortable, but you can survive off of $500 a month. Again, I'm not suggesting that you do one extreme or the other. The average is $1,200 to $1,800 a month. And now we are going to go over our bills, and I'll make sure that all these numbers are up on the screen to compare.
And by the way, that's a good point to bring up. Like, you're going to get different things depending on where you go. I've personally never had any issues with Wi-Fi for the most part. no matter where I was in Latin America or Southeast Asia. So like again, right? Just keep that in mind. You know, where you go, like making sure to set up the right Wi-Fi if you are working some sort of remote job. Because more than likely, I mean, to be honest with you, like maybe the guy he was referring to was retired. I'm not sure. Like maybe he's like living off like a pension or something like that. I know there's not that many pensions anymore, but basically, I would think even if you're working part-time, a U.S. job, and you want to rent, it would be pretty easy, right? You want to rent, especially like that guy he referred to, was like 300 or 380 a month or something like that. Like if you're working part-time U.S. hours and you have decent Wi-Fi, like that's still good. I mean, you can work full-time too, of course, but like this kind of shows you like what's possible if you start thinking outside the box, you know, whether it's Asia or somewhere else.
It to the average bills. First bill is housing. We built ahead of time, and therefore our mortgage is zero, so we don't have a rent and we don't have a mortgage.
The second one, electric bill, 800. Oh, 80.
Yes. Second bill is electricity. We're averaging $80 a month, so a little over 4,000 peso with the exchange rate right now. But we have solar because we bought solar and paid for it in advance, so our electric bill should be $230 is what we're using for kilowatts, but we're only spending 80. Now when net metering kicks in, that number, January or February, when net metering kicks in, then our bill should actually be zero. So then the first two bills that we have will be zero. Third one is
internet.
How do you say that?
Internet.
Yep, exactly. Internet. Okay, and we are averaging, well, we spend $40 a month.
40, yes. 40.
And I don't know the programs, but we have 3 options out here for internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the fastest one, I know that.
1.2, 1.8, and 2.4.
Or 2.2.
Oh, no, 2.2, yeah, right.
Yeah, there is 3 different internet options out here because we do have fiber where we live. So yes, we are spending $40 a month or 2,200 peso, but that is getting us the fastest internet there is, and it's unlimited.
Your cell phone bill is...
Okay, so keep that in mind, right? He said literally like the best and fastest internet for $40. I'm not sure what that translates to in US, even though I'm a US, person. Like, I'm sure it's a lot more than that. I would guess like triple, quadruple, maybe even more. I don't know. But that's a great example of that because 40 gets you the best. So if you don't necessarily need the best, then what is that, right? I mean, I've even paid, not in the Philippines, but like in Latin America, for example, I paid like $10 for a SIM card. It's like $10 a month, right? Which is way less than in the US.
Bill?
Yep.
What's its 5?
Well, we're actually spending less than $5 on our monthly cell phone.
Oh yeah, because we're using data and then...
We have unlimited load, or not unlimited load, we have unlimited expiration on our load, and we put in $8 on each one of our phone, and that was like 3 months ago.
Food-home.
Food-home, yes.
Food.
Okay,
Food,
so
yeah.
we do zero shopping at a grocery store. So I mean, we go to Robinson's for nothing other than Splenda, which is going to last forever, pretty much. But yeah, I mean, our food cost is averaging, or it's costing us about $125. So 1 week it'll look much higher because I will buy 10 kilos of mangoes, I will buy 20 pineapples, 50 pounds of beef, 10 kilos of mangoes, 10 kilos of peanuts, and then I'm chopping it all up, and then it's stored away in the freezer, and we have quite a bit of food. But either way, since we've been here, we're averaging
125?
We're averaging $125 a month to eat at home.
Food out.
Yeah.
Food out.
Okay, just for reference, I was spending like 70 or 80 or 90 bucks a month, or not a month, a week for groceries. So if they're spending the same thing per month and eating well, like the guy was talking about like getting beef and like a lot of good fruit, things like that. So my man here is eating good, right? They're both eating good, and it's at 1/4 or 1/5 the price of what I was paying in the U.S., right? So again, good example of what happens when you think outside the box.
Food-out. Yes. I like how you're saying that. It's very professional, actually. I like how you're saying that.
How I say it.
Food-out. It's funny.
Yeah, I just read what's euro.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Okay, takeout food or eating in restaurants, we're spending an average of $125 a month. If anything, we're getting like an entire cooked chicken, and it's costing us a little under $4. Or when we go to breakfast, rice is 10 peso, and then it's what, 10 peso per egg?
15.
Yeah, I mean, I'm spending, $1 or $2, or $3. I mean, we'll usually spend $5-6 total when we're going out to places like that. Because again, we live in the province, we don't live in the city. There's no Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, or McDonald's, or any big name that you've heard of for at least an hour and a half. So when we're going out to eat, it's very, very cheap for us.
Transportation.
Now, I like your.
Okay, and good point, right? So they're living in the province, which is a little more like the countryside, like farther away from the city. So these prices sort of reflect that. But again, you can hear some of the things that he's mentioned, right? Like how much they're spending on things still is really good. They were able to install, like pay for and install solar. They're getting the best internet. They built and own their house with no rent, no mortgage, right? So you see what's happening here, right? They're not like, oh, I gotta pay this thing every month, like all these like different like loans and debts and et cetera, et cetera. Right? It's like they're being very effective about this.
Better than mine. So
Transportation.
okay, we're spending an average of $80 a month, and that average is over the course of 10 months. So when I say that 1 month it will be nothing, because I had a full tank of gas and I drove once a week and I didn't leave the province, and it's going to last me forever. And then the next month we'll go back and forth to the city once or twice. So it's averaging out to about $80.
Entertainment.
Entertainment, we put down $20 a month, or about 1,000 peso. Here's the thing, we won't use any entertainment for 1 or 2 or 3 months, and then we'll be in the city and we'll go to the movies, and then we're going to spend more than $20. So we're averaging $20, but most months, we live in the province. As far as entertainment, there's no movie theaters or
I'm
malls. Yes, you are entertainment. That's that bill I didn't put down here. I need my other.
Oh, that's free.
I have 2 other screens in the office. I would need them both to go over that bill. But anyways, okay. Next one, honey.
Water.
Water.
What? No.
With a T.
Water.
Water.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Okay, you win. Nope, that's fine. We're averaging $8 or a little bit less. We have a well and we have a holding tank, so we can average $0. However, we're also hooked up to the town line, and with the pool and things like that, or even gardening, we end up using it sometimes, just so we're not dealing with the holding tank issue or anything like that. But it's so cheap. It's, like I said, it's $8. Next one would be Visa. So for me, only right now, for the first year, my visa is free. So as a Balikbayan coming into the country with a wonderful Filipina,
Oh yeah.
I have a 1-year visa free. So I haven't spent any money on that. But again, that's one thing that is going to be factored in later on, because my visa will run out, and then I'll be working on my citizenship, or I already am. But anyways, right now, for the first 10 months, I have $0 for visa fee.
Meds, dental, and insurance.
Yes.
Oh, like the way I see it.
Yes, I like it too. Okay, so we put down $30 to be safe. I have one medication that I pick up, which would be most of that. We'll see a dentist soon to get a cleaning.
Yeah, I don't need, but he needs.
Excuse me, I do not need. Okay, whoa, time out there. Okay, I'm 41 years old. I've never had a cavity in my life. So yes, I'm going to go get a cleaning and get a checkup again, but never had a cavity, and I don't plan on having one. Miscellaneous. So we are budgeting, or not budgeting, but we're spending an average of $50 a month for miscellaneous, but this is the first year that we've been into the house, so that's expected. We do have a lot of one-off purchases, which is not included into our monthly budget, because as far as building a house, you have to buy a couch, you have to buy furniture. So if you guys are interested in seeing a video on a final what it costs for the house, we can do an updated video on that. But buying a fridge or putting in a garden, it's not a monthly cost. We're not going to budget every month to buy a new fridge. We're not going to budget every month for extending the walkway, for example, or widening the garage, or things that we've done the first year of moving into the house, which we expected. So that money is coming out of the house budget for the total house cost, which we're still way under, so that's fine. But either way, right now, or not right now, for the last 10 months, our average is $563 is our total monthly cost for us to live here in the Philippines. And again, that is over a 10-month period. Of course, some months are a little bit above that and other months are down below that, but our average, or the average over 10 months, is $563, which is low. But again, when you think about location, we're in the province, and two, when you think about planning, we paid for the house in advance, so we don't have a housing cost. The house runs off of solar, and because we live in the province, our food cost is very low out here. So that's going to be the biggest factors. And we bought the car outright, I pay cash for it. So all those things are blank and they're zero for us, which makes a really big difference. Now there's one thing that we can factor in. It's actually coming out of the house budget, but I'm going to explain it anyways. And that is going to be the worker that we have here building. He's built our furniture, he's built our DVD rack, our shoe rack, our end tables, our cabinets. He's the one that's built all that, which you don't budget for that monthly, and because we're not going to add cabinets every month for the rest of our life. So I'm taking that out of the total cost, the total house cost fund, because those are one-off purchases that you own afterwards forever. But either way, we're paying him $152 a month. So even if you want to factor that in, the 152 plus the 563, we're only at $715. That's what we're spending total for the last 10 months to be here. But like I said, a lot of that is, you know, paying him to build the things that we now own and we get to keep. Yeah, for another example, which I didn't put in here, we have mango trees on the property, and people come once every couple of weeks. They take all the mangoes and then they actually pay us. So, yeah, they pay her. But anyways, between the garden, we also have 2 fish ponds that we've built that we're waiting for the fish delivery, and a lot of chickens. So we're going to have 30 to 40 chickens here as well. So the food cost is going to go down and the electric cost is going to go down. But I hope that helped you guys.
And they're not going to be buying eggs anymore, sounds like.
Again, I know some people are going to say that's really cheap. Some people might say that's expensive, but, you know, let us know what you're spending on these bills. But yeah, living out here in the province, it's very simple, very happy, very healthy, and that's what we're spending.
It's nice because you can plant vegetables and fruits, then you don't have to spend unlike in city. You have to buy, it's more expensive. I don't know, I eat small, so I don't.
Yeah, she eats small, but spinach, tomatoes, you know, I can keep going with different vegetables and fruits that we walk out back and we pick them. All right, yeah, so that wraps up our monthly costs for what we're spending here living in the Philippines. Let us know what you're thinking if you have any questions, and if you guys want to see an updated house cost video, I can do that separately, but yeah, we really don't spend much. I mean, we're very happy with this. This is where we expected it to be. I budgeted much higher than this, so I'm very happy with the fact that we're spending less than what we thought we would spend. But either way, we know we can make some adjustments to this to actually get a little bit lower. And I know a lot of people are going to say this is already really low, and it is, but all my neighbors are Filipinos, so they're spending a lot lower than this amount when you think about it. So there's always room for improvement. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it.
Awesome, guys. So as you can tell, right? And I would actually recommend, because this is a good video as well. There's a few different videos by different creators about this kind of stuff. I would recommend you also check out the Digital Bromad. That's BROMAD. He's got a video that came out recently with him and his girlfriend where they're living in an apartment in, I believe, Manila, maybe in the city, right? So like a pretty popular spot, downtown, something. And I think even she was saying that their place was high. I don't remember what he said it was. I think it was like maybe $600 US, and she was saying that it should be like 500 or even less, right? So again, right, like that's pretty good for living in a downtown area. And what he was saying, right, like 700 with all the stuff that he has is really good, and it's probably going to go lower at some point, right? So, you know, it gives you a good idea of how this stuff works and how to budget if you are planning on coming out to one of these countries, right? Because if you're able to be creative, get a remote job, you know, work from home, and create this financial freedom, time freedom, if that's something you want, of course, obviously you're watching this kind of video, so I would recommend you start really looking into these things because you can make it work. And things are only up from here. They just get better, basically. So thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. You got this, bro.